In our law and justice lead, this stunning rise in threats to lawmakers, public officials, and election workers. Often these threats come via voicemail. We've played many right here on the lead. Now we've gone further and analyzed more than 500 federal cases of the people accused of pushing this garbage. Kyung La has the rare glimpse of who these people actually are and why it's so difficult to prosecute many of the offenders. A warning, some of the language in this report is disturbing.
We're gonna hang you, traitor.
Give him a Alabama necktie, you piece of shit.
This is what it sounds like to work for the American people.
You piece of shit.
I will take a bullet to your head if you with my rights anymore.
From members of Congress.
Tell Matt Gaetz to watch his back. Tell him to watch his children. He's gonna die.
To your local government.
People that are going to be coming and visiting the homes of the Board of Supervisors and basically executing their families.
But who and why?
When we come to lynch your stupid, lying, commie ass.
These are all lines that I've heard come out of his mouth hundreds of times. My dad's been with that whole wave since the very beginning, and it lit a fire.
Hello, excuse me?
The man we're trying to speak with is Mark Reese.
I would never talk to you guys. Goodbye.
He lives in a quiet corner of Iowa in a suburb of Cedar Rapids. Reese will go to federal prison next month, convicted for threatening to kill an election official. CNN reviewed more than 500 federally prosecuted threats to public officials. In the last decade, at least 40% were politically motivated. Overall, prosecuted threats to named lawmakers jumped 168% during Trump's presidency. Threats to Republicans making up the bulk of cases. 95% of those prosecuted, men, average age 39. Mental health issues, divorce, loss of a loved one, isolation, all recurring themes in the cases. A profile that the son of Mark Reese of Iowa recognizes.
He was a great dad. He was very present. He's always been a conservative, they'll never take our guns kind of a guy. But over the course of the last 10 years, it's gotten really, really intense.
Your mother at this point was starting to become ill.
Right. She started showing signs of dementia. Turned out she had early onset Alzheimer's. And so my dad was her caretaker, taking care of my mother 24/7. How he would get away from that would be to dive into, literature and politics and the internet. But getting lost in his news feeds, I think, was really the main culprit here. The turning point where I started to realize that, wow, this is a serious problem is when he bet me $100 that Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton would be hung in the next 30 days.
The final break between father and son happened during protests after the police murder of George Floyd, when his son supported a local Iowa march.
I got a message from my dad in the middle of the night that said, your boys Antifa are now a terrorist group.
You come near my house and I will drop you like the sack of shit you are. I never want to see your stupid face again. You're a moron. I hate your guts, you little prick.
He really, has put aside having family-related interactions, right? He's given up all of that so that he can 100% focus on, this whole anti-government operation.
Reese's father was also calling someone 1,500 miles away in Arizona.
We're going to get started.
Clint Hickman, chairman of the Maricopa County Board of Supervisors.
Hello, Mr. Hickman. You're gonna die, you piece of shit. We're gonna hang you.
The county board oversees Election Day voting and tabulation. Starting in 2020, lies spread into conspiracies and threats. There were hundreds upon hundreds of terrifying calls.
Hey, Clint, f***ing liar. You goddamn CCP butt-rimming piece of shit. Pile of shit. You f***ing Great Reset corrupt politician.
I've lived through, my staff, this county has lived through a mountain of threats. And this is basically, in my case, the one guy that was caught.
Reese will spend 2.5 years in prison for the threatening call he made to Hickman.
I'm just a public servant and representative that has the audacity to take part in running fair and clean elections. And if law enforcement can catch them, I'm absolutely there to see people to go to jail because I'm worried about our election workers.
The Mark Reese case epitomizes the type of conduct that the task force is trying to combat. And that's because it threatens the foundation of our democracy. Death threats are criminal, and they will be prosecuted.
John Keller leads the Election Threats Task Force at the Department of Justice, formed after the 2020 election. The task force currently has dozens of active investigations, but Keller says it's a drop in the bucket.
We can only investigate and prosecute threats of unlawful violence.
What percentage are cases that just don't meet that standard?
Over 90% are
That's
cases
a
that do
lot.
not meet the standard. And it gives you a sense of what the election community is dealing with and what they're facing and why we can't prosecute our way out of this problem.
1 in 5 election workers signaled they wanted to quit after the midterms. More than half worried about their safety.
What do you think as we look ahead into this election year? Are there going to be more people like your father?
I mean, I hope not, but I know that there is going to be, right? Like, I'm actually pretty scared to see what's kind of on the horizon there.
Now, Clint Hickman in Maricopa County has not yet decided if he's going to run in 2024. If he does, it will be a determination to take part in our democracy. He is urging other election workers, Jake, to do so. And here's one thing, a fine point that we have to restate. The Department of Justice in 2024 now has their Election Threats Task Force fully engaged. If they can, they will prosecute.
All right, Karen Law, fantastic journalism to you and the whole team. Congratulations. Thank you.